Marketplace is supported by Putnam Investments, recognizing the value of financial advice since 1937. Putnam Investments, a world of investing. Produced in association with the University of Southern California.
For those worried the economic recovery seems to be running out of gas, one guy who should know said today there is nothing to worry about. Of course, Alan Greenspan's been wrong before now, hasn't he? From American Public Media, this is Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by Thomson Reuters, a source of intelligent information to businesses and professionals around the world. Thomson Reuters, knowledge to act.
From the Frank Stanton Studios in Los Angeles, I'm Kai Ryssdal. It is Thursday, today the 1st of July. If you can believe that, it is good to have you here. For those tracking the health of the American economy, today brought a veritable cornucopia of economic data. Sadly, none of it all that appetizing. Manufacturing growth has slowed, pending home sales are down, and there are some worries that the June unemployment report tomorrow morning is going to be ugly. Which then leaves this gaping hole in the analysis. Is the recovery slip-sliding away, or is the economy just pausing to catch its breath? Jeff Horowitz reports.
What should we make of this raft of bad news? Into the void this morning stepped the one-time sage of Wall Street. Former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan was chatting over coffee on CNBC when he dropped a little economic bomb.
What we're looking at is an invisible wall, which essentially, as far as I can see, is a typical pause that occurs in an economic recovery.
Typical pause. That's typical Greenspan. Seems like such a boring phrase, but to economist Heather Boucher, them's fighting words.
That is ridiculous. I wouldn't say this is a typical recession, and I don't think that at this point in this particular nascent recovery, a pause is anything to not be very concerned about.
Boucher is senior economist with the Center for American Progress. Here's what's not typical, she says. Halfway through 2010, unemployment claims still aren't falling.
That is incredibly worrying, and that's not the kind of trend that we've seen in previous economic recoveries.
In Greenspan's corner, you'll find John Canale, economist with LPL Financial. Canale likes to call it a soft spot in the recovery, but typical pause, that'll work.
And it's not just happening this time, it happens at this point in every recovery.
Canale says midway through every recovery since the 70s, the economy goes into what he calls two-step forward, one-step back mode.
You usually see consumer confidence drop. You see various other measures of the economy kind of flatten out a little bit.
Canale says he puts the labor recovery right in the middle of previous recessions. You might even say it's typical. I'm Jeff Horowitz for Marketplace.
The House approved the financial reform bill last night. The Senate is going to wait until after the long holiday weekend to take its vote. But one key part of the other big reform bill that came out of Washington this year went into effect today. Temporary high-risk insurance pools for people who can't get insured because of pre-existing conditions. Some of those pools started taking applications today. But it's not yet clear how many people they will actually be able to help. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer explains.
The health care reform law will make it illegal for insurers to refuse people because of pre-existing conditions, but that doesn't take effect until 2014. In the meantime, people who've been denied coverage can apply for insurance through the temporary pools. But the pools are really just a drop in the bucket. The new law budgets $5 billion for them. Austin Frecht is a health economist at Boston University. He says the government might have to limit enrollment so the money doesn't run out.
So if you start denying people, that doesn't look good. On the other hand, we're in a climate of fiscal belt-tightening.
So it would be hard to persuade Congress to pony up more money. There are upwards of 40 million uninsured Americans, but the Congressional Budget Office says enrollment will have to be limited to about 200,000 people. Otherwise, the pools will be drained before 2014. Richard Popper is a deputy director at the Department of Health and Human Services. He says the department can make do by shifting money away from states with low enrollment.
We'll be monitoring the actual expenditures closely to reallocate between states if enrollment is lackluster in one state and in another state it's more robust.
The states might not like that too much. Linda Shepard works for the Kansas Insurance Commissioner.
We would want to be able to have those funds that have been allocated to us available for those people here in Kansas.
The bottom line for the uninsured, apply for the pools early, before the money runs out. In Washington, I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer for Marketplace.
I direct your attention now to Federal Reserve.